Hey girls. Okay, so I know that many of you have expressed that you have been having some troubles booking parties from parties. And the first thing that I just want to talk about is kind of the verbiage that you might be using and what you might want to be saying when you do book a party. So, at a party, the first thing that you really need to do is, of course, welcome your guests. It really does start there. When you set up your table and people are walking in, if you can, you should be meeting them at the door. You should be introducing yourself and just really starting to get to know them a little bit. Bring them over to your table, let them check things out. The next thing is, it's really important as well, in my opinion, to have a show presentation. So you should have some sort of presentation that you're showing people at a party that's going to be going over what the products are all about, how much they cost, what you can put together, whatever works for you. And we can talk about that a little bit later. But ultimately, at least doing some sort of presentation. And then lastly, it's really important that you ask them. So I do believe in having a booking talk in your show presentation. And then that way they're not going to be surprised when you do come to them when they're checking out and asking them if they would like to book a party. Now, when somebody comes to you for checkout, what I would suggest not doing is saying, hey, so do you want to book a party? Because more than likely, you're going to get a no. And it's more important that you kind of warm them up a little bit and actually just talk to them a little bit before you make that ask. Now, if you're at least asking yay, at least you're asking the question, because honestly, if you don't ask, they can't answer. And I can probably count on maybe one hand how many times somebody has volunteered to book a party with me. So just keep that in mind. If you're not asking, you're not going to book parties. You have to ask. The second thing, though, is when you're asking what to say. So when somebody comes to my table with their bill all ready to go or they're ready to make their selections, what I like to say to them is, hey, Sally, it was so nice meeting you this evening. And I'm just wanted to make sure that you had a good time tonight. Did you have fun? And of course, 99.9% of the time, they'll say, yeah, you know what? I had a great time. And then, I will say, fantastic. Do you think your friends and family would have fun at an event like this? Sometimes you'll get a yes. Sometimes you'll get a maybe. Rarely you'll get a no. And so if you get a yes or a maybe, then what I would say is there any reason why you wouldn't want to have a party like this yourself for your friends and family where they can have a fun night out of their homes, away from their kids, and at the same time, they're going to be able to take advantage of some awesome deals. They're going to be able to see the stuff in person, and you'll be able to walk away with a little shopping spree for yourself. What do you think? So, generally, what that does, you're not necessarily going to get a yes or no there. You might. I've had people say, yeah, sure, that sounds great. But what it does is it really opens up a conversation. And so, what she might come back to you and say is, well, maybe let me check with my friends. That's one that I hear fairly often. And so, when I hear that, let me check with my friends. What do you say? And so, something that I might say is, no problem. What I hear you saying is that, it's possible that you maybe have a problem, like something that you're worried about booking a show. Is it that there's something that is just bothering you about it, or do you just not want to have one? And that way you're going to get a yes or no, because trying to push somebody that's a definite no, there is no point to that. But somebody that maybe just has a few concerns, you can definitely walk around that problem if you do it in the right way. So she might say, yeah, well, I'm not sure. I'll just check around. Or, they're very non committal a lot of the time. And so when that happens, what I'll generally say is, Sally, I completely understand where you're coming from. But what I found is that people really can't say yes or no to a party unless we have something written down. So why don't we try it? Why don't we pencil something in? We can pencil in a date that works for you and works for me. And we'll work towards it. I'll help you invite and we'll make it really simple and easy. And If it's not going to work out, we can reschedule it. And if it really isn't going to work out, we can cancel it. What do you think? Now, I would say the majority of the time, over 75% of the time, I can get somebody penciled in if we're at that point. Keyword, pencil something in, see if it's going to work for you and me. Another thing that I might say and that I've used fairly often is, why don't we pencil something in that works for you and works for me? And you can check with your 3 BFFs and make sure that they can make it. And you know what? If all 3 of those girls can make it, then fantastic. We have a date. What do you say? And a lot of times they will say yes. Now, once you've gotten to that yes, it's extremely important that you pencil in a date. So how I normally nail somebody down with a date at that point is I'll say to them, that's great, Sally. That's going to be super fun. Would a weekday or a weekend work better for you? Now, I work weekdays and I work weekends. If you don't work weekdays or if you don't work weekends, don't give those dates. Give dates you work. So if you say only work Tuesdays and Fridays, you can say, Sally, you know what? I normally work Tuesdays and Fridays. Would a Tuesday or a Friday work better for you? And so if you can get to that point, she'll generally tell you whether or not either of those days works better. So let's say, for my sake of my example, she says, weekends would be better, I think, for me and my friends. Great, that's fantastic. I do Friday night parties. I do Saturday morning, like mid-morning parties around 10:30 in the morning. And then I do Sunday afternoon parties, usually at about 1 o'clock after people are home from church and, they're kind of ready to do something fun with their day. What would work better for you? And she'll generally give me a day. And then I can say, great, Sally, my next available, let's say she said Saturday, my next available Saturday morning is actually this coming Saturday. I actually have available. Is that something that would work for you? Now, you are going to get some blowback from trying to book a party tight like that, but the tighter the better. Always start with your earliest date. And you know what? When I get people looking at that tight date that's within a week, I'll say, the great thing about this is if it works for you and it works for me, you're going to know right away if that's going to work for your friends. And if it's not, we'll just reschedule it. So do you want to try for it? And a lot of the times, they will. I'd say not a lot, but 50-50. But even in that, saying that, at least you're going to get them booked in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So that's how I personally get bookings. I am going to post another video and I'm going to talk to you guys about using a booking game. And I'm going to show the booking game that I showed at our last meeting that I've been having a lot of success with. So try these things out. If you have other things to add, things that have been working for you, please be sure to comment on those. And otherwise, happy booking. Okay, bye.